Facebook is dealing with the fallout from a whistleblower's scathing testimony on Capitol Hill yesterday. A former product manager for the company, Frances Haugen, accused Facebook of being morally bankrupt. She told lawmakers that the social media giant knows the harm it's doing to vulnerable users, including teenagers. So joining me now is Facebook's head of global safety, Antigone Davis. Thank you so much for joining. You have been out front actually a lot. In fact, you testified before Congress quite recently as well. But I want to talk about the testimony we heard yesterday from Frances Haugen. She compared the platform to cigarettes, to big tobacco in its addictive nature. What is Facebook doing to prevent social media from becoming addictive to teens?
Well, first, I'd actually just like to reject that premise. Unlike tobacco, Facebook actually adds tremendous value. People use it to grow their small businesses. They use it to create groups to fight things like domestic violence and get safe houses to abused victims. They use it for creating community for their soccer teams. So I think there's that analogy just really doesn't work. That said, to the issue of time spent on the platform and people who may feel like they're spending too much time on their phones, I think we probably all feel that way sometimes. We've actually built tools that enable you to see the amount of time that you've spent, to set a daily reminder, to step away from the platform. And actually, we're working on something called Take a Break, particularly to address that issue when we see people maybe on for a long period of time.
But I got to ask you, Antigone, do those sort of tools that sort of remind you you've been on perhaps longer than you had initially planned, do they even matter if you have powerful algorithms, which is what the whistleblower is saying, powerful algorithms that encourage you to stay on or to keep checking the platforms? It's sort of I'm wondering if it's sort of the countermeasure is as strong as the lure.
That's actually a thoughtful and good question. Thank you. I think her testimony suggests sort of a fundamental misunderstanding of how our algorithm works. So our algorithm is designed to connect you with things that you've shown an interest in and things that you've engaged with, but it takes in numerous signals. So we also have components of the system that actually reduce, for example, clickbait, which is something that does get people engaged, but it's not actually positive content. And so we put in a number of different signals. We're really optimizing for a positive experience for people. And in fact, we made changes.
Okay, so that brings me to some...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that brings me to something else that she suggested. She suggested, in fact, the opposite, that what the algorithm does is sort of push people towards information postings that make them angry. And that's something that your boss specifically addressed in a statement. I'm going to read a portion of what he said in a post last night, Mark Zuckerberg, that is. The argument that we deliberately push content that makes people angry for profit is deeply illogical. I found the word illogical sort of interesting because, Facebook is a company and not a charity. It seems perfectly logical to do things that would compel people to stay on the platform. I know you can't get into his head, but why would Mark Zuckerberg say that that's illogical if it's a tactic that works?
Well, because it's actually extraordinarily short-sighted. So if you think about somebody's experience on the platform, if they're having a very negative experience, at some point they're going to turn away from that negative experience. So to suggest that we'd optimize towards something negative for the long-term value of business just doesn't actually, it is illogical, it doesn't make sense. And to just give you an example of kinds of changes that we've made to ensure that people are having a positive experience, we adjusted our algorithm to basically optimized for meaningful social interaction. So, for example, if I engage with my mother-in-law's knitting post a lot, I may see more of that kind of content. We did that knowing that actually would reduce the number of hours that people spent on our platform. It did reduce the number of hours by about 50 million hours a day, but we did it because it creates a better experience for well-being, and in the long run, a positive experience is a much better business model.
Because of my job, I've watched a few of these congressional hearings about social media platforms, Facebook in particular. Frances Haugen has said that there needs to be more federal intervention. There was clearly bipartisan support for that. Even Mark Zuckerberg said that he would, encourage some sort of federal regulations or a conversation about that. Why hasn't that happened yet? What is the holdup if all the parties involved are in favor of it?
I'm not sure that I'm the best person to answer why it is that Congress gets stalled on legislation. But I will say that we have actually called for legislation. We've not only called for legislation, but we've actually provided like a roadmap to what might work. So, for example, CDA 230, which is probably the biggest piece of legislation in relation to the tech industry, was introduced in 25 years ago, past 25 years ago. It hasn't been updated. We are encouraging it to be updated, and actually have suggested a system that would provide for transparency, that would provide people with process requirements, reporting requirements, all then to actually ensure that we have the protections that CDA 230 provides, but only if you meet certain requirements, basic industry standards.
So that brings me to something else. One of the other things that Frances Haugen said is that Facebook essentially can't be trusted to be completely transparent, and part of the challenge for lawmakers and everyone else is no one really understands how Facebook works except for the people inside Facebook. And so I have to ask you, what is the likelihood that instead of seeing just some of the data that Facebook has collected, lawmakers can see all of the data in order to, instead of taking Facebook's word that this is a good roadmap for legislation, maybe if they had access to all of the information, then they could come to their own conclusions as to what is a good blueprint.
Well, let me take the first part of that, and then the second part second. In terms of transparency, Facebook in the last few years has made a huge commitment to transparency. So we actually have a transparency report that comes out multiple times during the year. Not only do we have that transparency report, we've actually asked an auditor to take a look at the methodology to validate, an independent auditor. We have submitted to human rights impact assessments. We've actually put in place an oversight board. And we really are inviting Congress to put in the kind of oversight and transparency requirements that people are looking for, so that you're not just taking our word on the job that we're doing, but there's actually someone else there to hold us to account. I think that commitment will translate into specific work with legislators on what that legislation would look like, and happy to provide them with information on how our systems work. And we did release in this instance the primary research that was reflected in particular around teens.
All right, Antigone Davis, I have 100 more questions, but I know you don't have the time right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.